I really let you guys down today. I gotta tell you, I have nothing good. I've got a Coastal Pines shirt. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love rocking the Coastal Pines gear, but sometimes on a Monday, people just need a dose of like absolute visual stimulus, and I just didn't deliver today. I need to hold myself up to a bit of a higher standard. Anyhow, so our our jump the shark papers just should be rolling in now. I mean, if they're not, well, contact me. I mean, it's not like I'm going to, go after you. I'm not going to drink a big old bottle of haterade just because you're having some trouble. So, if anything's wrong, please, obviously, email me. Let me know. I got lots of people still giving me pretty long emails with questions. You can use that to supplement the inability to attend the team sessions. I'm perfectly fine with that. It makes a lot of sense. Um, you know, I am still toying with the idea of holding a couple of extra team sessions, maybe try to figure out a good time that would be different, a little bit farther removed. I'll let you guys know when I, get that together. This morning, man, wasn't even that cold this morning, but I just could not get the motor running. It was, ugh. How are you guys? You all right? You need anything? Can I get you something? I'm not even funny today. I'm not even funny. That's like all I've got going for me these days is that usually I can, land a joke occasionally or a clever quip or something. What do you guys think of my did a little bit of I invested a bit in my appearance this weekend. I had a wedding, and that wedding was quite lovely. We should probably talk about English. And why the hell is The Last Jedi trending on Twitter? Like, what year is this? Anyway, so we're starting with a brand new concept, brand new assignment. We are fresh and clean, jumping into I'm about to start this video over. Oh, God. I think it's just the knowledge, knowing that I'm about to be buried in an absolute mountain of essays, and I'm just going to have to wade through it. And I can't really get angry at anyone because, I did this crap to myself. I chose this life, right? Sometimes I look around and I'm like, you're the reason that this is happening. You are here because of the decisions that you made, right? And, oh, my kid, I love my job. I don't like papers, which is like, 90% of the reason that I have this position to begin with. Anyway, let's talk about a new paper I'm going to get really grumpy about when I have to grade it. Let's talk about the eco narrative. Now, today, I'm going to create a new discussion forum, and I've had a lot of questions about the discussion forums. People are like, where am I supposed to put this new discussion? Typically, whenever we get into a new big assignment, I create a discussion forum centering around that assignment. Whenever I ask you to write a discussion question, just go and put it in that forum. I've taken online classes in the past that have just absolutely just abused the forums to the point that, it's a real headache, real gross. I hate them. When you've got like 50 forums to keep track of and to grade, it's a nightmare and it's a pain, and I don't like doing it. So I find it's a lot better to tamp down how many forums you have and instead go in and check for new content occasionally, see who's posting, occasionally comment if you get the chance. So that's the reason that I do that. So we'll open up the new forum. So let me take a few minutes today just to explain what we're looking for here. The Jump the Shark assignment was a very mental activity, right? It had a lot of logic, reasoning, argumentation. We experimented with those modes of writing. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to take it a bit of a different direction. We can't just rely on the power of our brains and our reasoning to get power out of our writing. In fact, I would say, honestly, one of the most useful things you could do to make your writing more effective is very much less focusing on the mental. Students have a tendency to just get absolutely locked inside their own heads. And I'm not going to be surprised if I see that with the Jump the Shark paper. It's very possible that I'm going to see that. And that assignment really lends itself to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try to get outside of our own heads, and we're going to try to describe things that we see and experience in our lives outside of media. Right? We're actually going to try to go out and do things and write about what it's like to experience the real world. Now, this is extremely important because, like I said, This is a bit of a writing trick that a lot of people aren't necessarily very aware of when they begin to write. And if we want to improve our writing, I once read an article long ago that said if you got somebody who's struggling with something and is having trouble mastering a concept, you actually don't want to treat them like they're remedial, right? And a lot of times, education makes this very weird assumption that people who are struggling with a concept need to be babied. They need to have concepts simplified a great deal in order for them to wrap their heads around it. That's not always the case. What you want to do instead is you kind of want to treat them like they're experts. You want to invite them into the discussion, into a place where they can have autonomy and they can make choices and see more of the intricacies of the subject. In essence, you want to give them a lot of attention and you want to invite them into a higher level discussion so that they feel like they have more access to the parts of the subject. I'm being really boring. Well, you know what? You're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to deal with it because I'm the teacher and you're not. Ha. But in any case, this assumption turns a lot of education over on its head. And, it's really hard to measure this type of thing. And it's really hard to measure the efficacy of writing because, what makes effective writing is often very debatable. But I've found students really appreciate that kind of higher level discussion and kind of being invited into the subject as opposed to standing out on the outskirts of it, right? So in any case, the point I'm trying to make here is let's take a jump into a more advanced writing tactic to see how it can help our writing. Oftentimes when students are in an English or writing classroom, one of the things that a teacher will ask of them or command them is to make a particular part of their writing more engaging. Like you need to make this more of a hook. You need to make it more interesting. And a very natural response to that demand is for students to be like, well, how do I do that? How do I actually make my writing more engaging? How do I make it good? How do I make it interesting? A lot of English professors and a lot of English teachers just simply have no answer to that question. It's like, I don't know. I've never written anything interesting in my life. A lot of teachers are more focused on the basics of proficiency, right? It's like we need to get to a level where we are obeying rules as opposed to actually having a conversation about, well, what makes writing good? We don't have to just only talk about the correctness or the incorrectness. What makes it worth reading? What makes it good writing? And I found that a lot of students have absolutely no idea how this works. They don't understand the strange kind of facets that differentiates bad writing from good writing. Oftentimes they can kind of recognize it, but they really don't know what's going on. They don't know the difference, right? So one of the big things that differentiates it for me, and I think that this is pretty common, is attention to detail. A good use of description. One of my favorite tricks with a classroom. And you'll notice a lot of my tactics don't necessarily translate well to online. Because when I'm teaching online, I can't ask students to bandy about a definition because it's just me in this weird bubble with my toys and my scarf. So I'm in a very isolated universe here, right? I can't allow a definition to kind of sort of grow organically. So I ask students to define description, and that's actually a really challenging thing to do. We know what description is innately, but what is the actual definition of it? And the definition we almost always end up with is some type of sensory detail, right? It is something that appeals to the senses. And just to review, those 5 senses are obviously, I'm going to miss one: touch, sight, smell, sound, taste. Oh, I think I got them. 5. Touch, sound, taste, smell. Damn it. You guys get the point, right? Good description really helps us to experience something, right? It activates our senses and reminds us of the sensations we would have if we were experiencing that item, right? The taste of a strawberry, the feel of sandpaper, the sound of a rocket engine exploding into a world jam-packed full of hamsters. Sorry. A little bit of the David coming out there. Now, that's actually kind of a difficult thing to do for students who have not really sat and thought about the ways that we can engage the senses. Is actually kind of challenging, because so many students stay in the realm of the mental. I just realized I left this dang light on. I am not starting this video over. Absolutely not. Right? I've worked way too hard to go back and start this all over again. It kind of has a tendency to wash me out. And you can't really see my toys very well up there with the light on, right? That's not good. You need to be able to see Optimus Prime and Mr. Peanut Butter and AJ Styles and Kurt Angle and the Terminator. Like, what am I if I'm not, like supported by my stupid tchotchkes? In any case, so the sensory data, the sensory details that allow us to feel something and truly connect with a story or a piece of writing, I find that is one of the easiest ways that we can create a piece of writing that draws the reader in. That's a little bit of a cheat for engaging readers. And the funny thing is, you can write something that's really, really descriptive, and it doesn't necessarily have to be good or have any real purpose. Description itself gets people in tune with what you're doing. One of my favorite writers that really illustrates this is Stephen King. Now, I'm about to kind of sort of halfway criticize Stephen King a little bit because I'm an idiot, but Stephen King's stories sometimes are extremely ridiculous and don't necessarily have really good payoff at the end. His movies really suffer from that. But if you ever crack open a Stephen King novel and you really give it a chance, what you'll find that Stephen King has absolutely mastered as a writer is he gets you immersed in what he's doing. He makes you feel things and he makes you sense things, right? You feel like you are there experiencing the story. If you guys ever want to see this, I think probably the most accessible thing he ever wrote. Oh gosh, a lot of his stuff is not very accessible, like because the books are just so unbelievably thick. It is a masterpiece, and I love the movies, but that book was a real experience. I loved The Dark Tower. The Dark Tower series is like a science fiction fantasy type real mix of all sorts of different genres. The first book in that series, The Gunslinger, is a masterclass. It's just done so well that you just can't help but just feel drawn into that world. So I'm sitting here throwing a little bit of shade at Stephen King, but he's mastered this aspect of writing so well that he can get away with a lot of cliched kind of silly plot points because we're there in that story. And, that's kind of one of the things that makes him so good at what he does. Now, here's the thing. You guys are not going to be there. And I say this over and over again to my students in my face-to-face classes. I don't expect you to be good at these things when we start. I mean, if you were good at this stuff, there'd be no reason for me to have a class. So I'm introducing a concept to you, and we're going to play with it. And we're going to try out different ways of exploring these concepts, right? So for this assignment, and I'm also going to say real quick, I'm going to open the Eco-Narrative Forum today. You guys are kind of submitting a paper right now. So I'm not going to give you a discussion question today. This is really just kind of like a little fun primer. But no discussion question today. Focus on getting your papers in. Make sure those are on the up and up. Devote as much time today as you can. And we'll start with our first discussion question on Wednesday. But what this assignment is going to do, and I'm going to give you a much more detailed exploration of the reasoning behind this assignment and where it comes from and all that. You're going to go to a place. You're going to go to a place. It could be a place that's special to you. It could be a place that you've never been before. There's a lot of options and a lot of different ways of approaching this assignment. So there's a lot of really cool kind of customization here. But you're going to go to a place and you're going to write about your experience of that place. Your main goal is not to make this assignment a logical kind of philosophical exploration of a concept. You're not trying to tell me why this place is important. Instead, you're trying to take me there. You can let go of a lot of the argumentation stuff that we were doing with the Jump the Shark. The Jump the Shark assignment is very much, lodged in the need to prove that the moment that you chose is a jump the shark moment, or to give your justification for choosing that time as worthy of exploration. That's not the case here. You can choose all sorts of different things, whether you go to a big retailer like Walmart, whether you go to a park, or you do like a very, very clever student of mine who was borderline, being a smartass, and you write an eco narrative of your own bathroom. He got an A, by the way. Like, it was a very well-deserved A. It started out as a joke, but then it exploded, and he was like, I can't believe how much I've been able to write just about my bathroom. I was like, that's the way it goes sometimes, There's been a lot of times in my life where I was trying to be sarcastic and facetious, and then boom, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually taking this seriously now. Those could be good times. In any case, there's a lot of customization here. But the goal now is to write the experience. It's to take me to the place so that I can experience right alongside you, right? So for right now, I want you guys to just sort of think about some places you can go and some places where you can bring me to an experience. And we'll talk more about all sorts of different options next time. And I'll outline more of what I'm expecting of this on Wednesday. So for now, finish up those papers, and I'll have a lot more ready for you for Wednesday. I'm looking forward to this new assignment. I think it's going to be cool, and I think you guys will enjoy it. It's different, and you'll get to kind of sort of stretch a different side of your brain this time. I think I'm going to go get Panera Bread. What do you guys think? It don't matter because you can't talk to me, right? So I get to make the choice all by myself. I need a nap. Go away.